Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called Put More Ease into Your Exercise with Five-Dimensional Flow, calming meditative movement for pain relief, increased strength, and elevated energy. My name is Stephen Dunn. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network, and I'm delighted to be with you here, getting to explore a really interesting frontier of movement science and really understanding how we can move in a way that helps to open our whole being and really lead to the kind of resilience and health that we all crave. We're going to get to do this with a really interesting pioneer. His name is Simon Borg-Oliver. He's a co-founder and director of Yoga Synergy and has developed this 5D flow process that we're going to learn a lot about today that is really quite remarkable. So with that said, Simon, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Stephen, it's such a pleasure to be here with you. It's such a pleasure to work with the Shift Network again.
Great. Well, I want to say right up front, we're going to have some time to do an experiential exercise, which we have actually pre-recorded to really optimize your ability to do it. So I'll be prepared in the middle of the hour. We'll be doing that. And we'll have a chance to go much deeper with Simon in a brand new program called Move Free and Easy with 5D Flow. So we'll share more about that towards the end of the hour. So Simon, I always like to start these journeys with a little bit of your journey as a teacher and really why you developed the method that you developed.
Stephen, my interest is in health, happiness, and longevity and the well-being of the world. So I had a really wonderful pair of parents who taught me a lot about philosophy and life skills and the ability to choose happiness. And I thank them so much for that. But when I was very young, my father, who was a free diver in the army, taught me at 6 years old how to swim underwater, holding my breath. And then right after that, I met an Olympic athlete named Basil Brown, who taught me how to control my internal organs, which was a thing that's done in traditional countries such as Tibet and China. I think it's probably done all over the world in traditional cultures. But controlling your internal organs is different to normal exercise, and it's something that I did all my life for the last 55 years. And in my teenage years, I met a Tibetan Lama who taught me some incredible things. Then in the early 20s, I went to India. I've done about 25 trips to India. And right after that time, I was working at university, first as a research scientist, then lecturing. And I did a lot of molecular biology and human biology. And then I became a physiotherapist because I was really interested in how the body works. And then not so long after that, in the late 90s and early 2000s, I met a couple of Chinese teachers, so I still work with today, some of their teachers in their 120s. And what I teach now is something which is a synthesis of my understanding from what I learned from the great masters of India, China, Tibet, Japan, and indigenous cultures from Africa, Australia, and America, fused with my understanding as a movement-based physiotherapist and research scientist, and trying to make it work so that the whole of your body works, not just the physical aspects, but also your internal health and your mind. So you have health, happiness, and longevity.
Well, what an amazing journey you've been on. I mean, there can't be too many people in the world who've been at that range of influences and how they're approaching the body now. It's remarkable. So let's dive into the synthesis you've created. I know you have a sort of an emergent, holistic, integrated model for health and working with our body. And I'd love for you to sort of paint the broad brushstrokes of that first.
Well, the thing that I found in all the different teachings I got from traditional cultures and also modern medical science is that all movement, all thought, all breath should start at your core. And in the West, we have this obsession about having a strong core and having lots of strong abdominal muscles, but many people actually lock their core. And this is a paradigm which actually causes problems physiologically and mentally, as well as physically, actually. But what we want to do is not think about the core as being just a bunch of muscles. The core is a central point in the body around which there is your immune system, your digestive system, your reproductive system. And of course, it's an important part of your lower back, that region as well. And your spine is also important there. But more than anything else, around all those organs is a large network or plexus of nerves called your enteric nervous system, which is euphemistically called the gut brain. And this is not just a tiny thing. The enteric nervous system, your gut brain, is so large, it's actually more nervous tissue than is in your spinal cord, and more nervous tissue than is in a cat's brain. And cats are smart, let's face it. So what I look toward most of all in my practice is getting people to connect the thinking brain in their head with their action brain or intuitive brain in their gut. And by doing this, you have better physical effects, you get stronger, less pain in the joints, more functional joints. You also get healthier with your immune system, your digestive and reproductive systems, better hormone health, better internal health, better healing. And then because you are also finding yourself to be then energized, calm, functional in your body and pain-free, it's an invitation for happiness. The whole process also makes you really connected with yourself, connected with your activities, and connected with the world around you. And that gives you purpose in your life, I think, when you feel connection.
That is a profound paradigm shift. I'd never heard that stat about the more enteric brain than in a cat's brain. That's quite remarkable. Share a little bit more about like why, if there is this disconnection between the enteric brain and our cerebral brain, that it leads to different kinds of disharmony, or you said that things are really locked up. So what is it that breaks down and really hurts our health when we don't have that integration?
Well, one of the most common things that often people talk about when they talk about exercise, or even things like qigong or yoga or these sort of things, meditation, etc., is you must connect with your breathing. Breathing is the link between body and mind, or breathing is the link between your conscious and your unconscious. But actually, although you hear about it a lot like this, it's not actually the breathing that connects your conscious with your unconscious. It's your diaphragm. And your diaphragm is a special muscle because you can control it consciously. But also when you're asleep in your most regenerative cycle, then it controls itself. And that's different to most muscles in the body. Most muscles, like your arm, you can bend your arm voluntarily, but if you stop, it's unlikely to happen by itself. And that's a conscious muscle. Then there are muscles, say, for example, lining the arteries going to your brain. And those muscles can just suddenly contract, but you can't do it voluntarily. They happen unconsciously. So there are conscious muscles, unconscious muscles, but the diaphragm is a special place because it has dual control, both conscious and unconscious. But the problem is with the paradigm we have in the world, which the media has propounded, and also the world of exercise and the world of often therapy, is they say you should tighten your pelvic floor, you should lock your core. And when people do this, they disable their diaphragm, and people start to breathe more into the chest in a way which it actually causes stress. And that stress causes disharmony mentally, but also physiologically. With that level of stress, you turn off all the organs of regeneration. So it doesn't help you physically, physiologically, or mentally when people do the things that they think are often good exercise and strong tightening of the core.
So it sounds like there's like some of our obsession with strengthening and like, oh, it's like toughening up is actually counterproductive for our health. And so what's a better mental model for engaging different exercises? I know we're going to go dive into some of your unique synthesis, but just as a model of like, should we just try to be relaxing or focusing on our breath, or how do you sort of make a lot of these other forms of exercise productive as well?
Well, the trick is you have to find a way of becoming flexible without the feeling of strong stretch. Because when you feel a stretch in the body, actually the body thinks something's wrong. Imagine if you bent your elbow and you felt an elbow stretch. Your next thought would be, something's wrong with my elbow. Or if you took a walk and as you're walking, you'd feel the front of your hips and the back of the hips stretching. The body thinks something's wrong. So I teach flexibility without stretching. Same with strengthening. What we want is to be strong, but not to feel tense. And if you pick up a little weight and you feel that, oh, that's strong on the biceps, it means you're weak. Most people train in a way where they feel stretch and tension, and that actually makes the body think something's wrong. There are ways where you can actually get strong without being tense, flexible without stretching, and similarly with your heart. People often say you need to do cardio, you need to get your heart rate up. Actually, fit, healthy people run fast. Their heart hardly beats at all. Same with breathing. So I teach also how to improve blood flow, improve circulation while keeping heart rate very low. And then you get energy flowing through your body, which makes you feel alive, but at the same time you feel relaxed. So it's like the benefits of exercise and sleep at the same time.
This is truly remarkable. If you can dive a little deeper into sort of being able to enhance circulation and blood flow without actually creating the stress response that traditional exercise does, that'd be interesting to explore further.
Sure. Well, the heart is often what people think of as the main pump of blood through your body, but the heart is only one of at least 12 pumps. And the other 11 pumps are very easy to access, and that's what I teach. So there are simple ways of using gravity to move blood through your body, using muscles to move blood. So you turn your whole body into one large pump, and then the small pump in your chest can have a bit of a rest. I mean, let's face it, it's working all your life. Why make it work harder? You know, in many traditional cultures, they say that, you know, like in India, they say the yogi counts their life, not by the number of years they live, but by the number of beats their heart makes and the number of breaths they take. And yet we're being told, breathe more, get your heart rate up more. These muscles need to chill out, the rest. And when you can run fast and hardly breathe at all and hardly have your heart beating, you're called a fit person. But many people are trying to make their patients, their clients, their exercise students actually do very little and breathe a lot, do very little and make their heart race a lot. It actually causes stress and it causes dysfunction when you do this. I'm not saying it's wrong to do it occasionally, but if you do it all the time, you'll get lots of problems. So predominantly, I teach how to get energized and be calm at the same time. And the other thing that actually retards blood flow is the tension that most people hold in their body all day long. So unless you need to, you don't need to tighten the abdomen the whole time. You don't need to have so much tension in your face, your jaw, your lips, your eyes, and especially the pelvic floor. So I teach about 12 separate places in the body. Only one of them is the diaphragm, which you must have access to, because there are 12 places, including the diaphragm, which have this ability for dual control, both conscious and unconscious. And in the practice that we do together today, I'll get you to access these places. And then you have these bridges between your conscious and unconscious, which help you move blood more effectively. They also help you relax much more effectively. They also help you reset your nervous system to a state of parasympathetic dominance. So you feel rest, rejuvenation, regeneration, relaxation.
Is there also something about quantity that you're also exploring here? So it's like a lot of our traditional understanding of how to be fit. It's like a certain amount of exercise every week. So are you able with these principles and practices to do less exercise and still be more fit?
Well, I think there definitely is. I think the paradigm that we were brought up with was something like 3 times a week to 5 times a week. You've got to do 45 minutes of exercise where you get your heart rate up to 60 to 80% of 220 minus your age. That's the paradigm we were brought up with. But actually now they've realized that even if you're training something like an Olympic athlete, they realize that they get the best results if an athlete is running for 100 minutes. It's only for 10 minutes they actually want to get their heart rate up. And for 90 minutes, they get a better result if while they're running really gently. So the thing about what I'm teaching and what modern, physiotherapy and physiology science says is that we need to be connected with our body to do something physical. And as a physiotherapist, one of the common axioms is exercise is optional, but movement is essential. So I'm teaching very gentle movements that don't feel like exercise. They're calming. It's like being in a warm bath, being massaged by someone who loves you. And that doesn't feel stressful at all. But maybe if you do say 20 minutes, maybe for 2 or 3 minutes, you might move a little bit harder. And then that means you're only doing 2 minutes of exercise and 18 minutes of just gentle self-massage and feeling nice. It's a lot more appealing. And as a therapist, I found that, I can heal people with exercise. I can heal musculoskeletal problems. But the problem is not fixing people, it's convincing people they have to do it. And I found, 30 years ago, that unless someone is actually going to really enjoy what they're doing, they're just not going to do it. So I want to make the practice fun and enjoyable while you're doing it, and not just by stimulating the production of endorphins and drugs in the body. Many people exercise when they create adrenaline, cortisol, and endorphins, which are like painkillers, which are like coffee, cocaine, and heroin inside your body. And then they breathe a lot, which reduces blood flow to the brain and sensitizes the nerves, which is a bit like having marijuana. And many people go, yes, I love exercise because it puts me on an exercise high or a yoga high or a prana high. But actually, many of those people are just stoned on their body's marijuana, cocaine, caffeine, heroin at the same time. It sounds good, it feels good, but long term, this is just more drugs in your body. They may be natural drugs, but better is to be with the calming, beautiful things that we get when we sleep, when we make love, when we feel good. And if you feel these drugs in your body feels safe enough to go through the process of healing and regeneration. Whereas stress hormones may feel good, like painkillers, but they turn off immunity, reproduction, and subconsciously you feel stress.
That's really makes a lot of sense what you're sharing. And I wonder if we can circle back. You talked a little bit about flexibility, as instead of like trying to get to the range of our emotion and stretch ourselves into flexibility, that there's another path that doesn't create stress in the body. And you share a little bit more about how you approach flexibility in that way.
Well, letting go of additional tension helps to improve flexibility, but also moving from your core helps as well. So instead of just taking your arm up, your arm will be limited by the tension in your shoulders and your joints. But if instead of starting the movement at your shoulder, you start the movement in your lower trunk, and then you've got 24 mobile segments of the spine that can move first before your shoulder moves. So when I say moving from the core, a lot of that, and in the simple level, what I teach is move your spine a lot more. Whereas a common paradigm in much exercise is have a neutral spine, keep your abdomen locked, keep your chest up, your shoulders back and down. But actually, this is not natural. So I'm teaching simple spinal movements, which actually release things like back pain, breathing problems, internal organ problems, just by moving your spine and moving your trunk especially. And when you do this, flexibility increases out of sight already. But another thing is I get people to access their spinal reflexes. You see, a lot of resistance to flexibility is that many people try and stretch by using external forces to move their body. Like, for example, they might take one leg forward and fall forward into a stretch to stretch the back of their legs. Now, that means the back of their legs got stretched, not by their own body wanting to stretch it, but rather by the force of gravity causing a lengthening to the back of the legs. And that lengthening stimulates a stretch reflex. And that stretch reflex is the same thing that happens when a doctor hits the front of your knee with a hammer and the knee just jerks up. Same thing happens when people do most stretching, is they're using external forces, like one limb pulling another into a position, or gravity forcing you into a position, or momentum. And all of these things stimulate lengthening of a muscle and tension at the same time. So I teach people how to use their own muscles to stimulate a relaxation reflex, which then releases the tension in a muscle, and then you don't feel as much stretch. It's interesting neurological approach, but it works very effectively, and it's done in all traditional cultures.
So you've spent a lot of time in India and clearly practiced a lot of yoga. Does this shift the whole philosophy of how you practice yoga as well?
When I look back, I realized that all my traditional teachers were telling me this. It was only my overzealous 20-year-old, 30-year-old mind that was taking the very Western approach.
Imported the Western perspective onto yoga.
Yes.
Actually, it was there already.
Yes. Look, I love traditional yoga, but when I look at what's happening to the world of yoga today, it's not traditional yoga. It's just overstretching, over-tensing, over-breathing, often overthinking when you could make it simpler, or not thinking at all when actually you should be looking after not hurting yourself. So although I love my traditional teachers, I don't really call what I'm doing yoga anymore. Plus, I've had many influences from other cultures other than India as well. But really good, yoga from India has all these principles in them. And I realize now that if I just paid attention to my true Indian teachers without the Western approach that I had in my 20s, then I would have learned this decades ago.
It's interesting. You almost have to have the paradigm shift first before you can engage the practices, because
Yes.
otherwise we're just seeing the practices through our own lens.
Yes,
Really
so
fascinating.
true.
Well, I want to get to the 5D flow. That's the sort of the emergent synthesis of all you've been teaching. And so I know you have a whole beautiful pre-recorded practice for us. And why don't you go ahead and tee that up and explain a little bit about what we're all going to be doing?
So the whole program I've got is called 5-dimensional flow because when, as I said to you, all movement should start at your core. Now, the core is a tiny invisible point, and to magnify it would be your lower abdomen and your lower back. But even that is very difficult for most people to access in the beginning. So what I get them to access is their trunk. And the trunk, of course, is the large version of your spine. The spine is almost like a string, but your trunk has a front and back. Now, the trunk can move in 5 main ways, which I call loosely dimensions. Your trunk, like your spine, can bend forward and backward. It can go sideways, side to side. It can twist. It can also lengthen and shorten. But your trunk, unlike the spine, can also compress and expand, which is what happens when you breathe in and breathe out. So these 5 movements or dimensions are why I call it 5-dimensional flow. But I also have lots of other 5s in it to make it, I have 5 approaches to doing this, including joint synergy, spinal synergy, mind synergy, breath synergy, core synergy, where I'm actually getting your joints, your spine, your mind to connect with your core and getting your core to move in 3-dimensional space as well. So by having 5 different approaches, it helps suit the different ways of learning of different people. And it also gives you a different way of seeing the ultimate goal from different perspectives. And it makes it easier to learn this practice. It's a beautiful practice when it's, even in the very beginning stages, you can get so many benefits at any age, at any level. And if you're experienced or healthy or young, you can make this practice as the essence of internal martial arts, dance, gymnastics, yoga, qigong. I can take it to any level. And I have the pleasure of traveling around the world at the moment. And sometimes I'm teaching more senior people of different levels of experience or sickness or health. And other times I'm teaching, young 20-year-old athletes, people of all levels and all skill levels. It's actually really fun to take this stuff.
Beautiful. Well, let's dive into the actual demonstration.
What I'd like you to do is choose to either stand up to do it, or you can also do it seated. If you're seated, don't lean against the back of the chair. Sit up straight and make yourself comfortable. It is slightly more effective if done standing, but if you can't stand, sit will still give you a lot more benefits than doing nothing at all. And what we're going to do is very, very simple. I'll get you to simply lengthen your fingers and move them, to have your shoulders relaxed and lengthened and perhaps roll them, to gently move your neck, not to stretch, not to feel uncomfortable, only do what feels comfortable. And also to relax your pelvic floor, perhaps move your hips, to lengthen your lower back and do gentle occasional breathing or moving your abdomen, and then also just softening and moving the face. You kiss, smile. It looks a bit funny, but it's fun to do. So let's go into it, and please join us. Connect with your gut brain, the seat of your true core. To do that, I'd like you to stand or sit in a comfortable position. If you're standing, have your legs about hip width apart and face towards me. I'll turn sideways sometimes so you can see what I'm doing. I want you to sit or stand with your hands by the side of the body, or if you're sitting, let the arms rest on the knees. If you wish, you can stand with your arms a little bit higher. If you wish, you can stand with your knees a little bit lower. And I'm going to give you 6 simple movements or connections to make, and then we'll potentially do it in different positions. I'm going to take my shirt off so you can see what my trunk is doing. Don't force any of these movements, only do what feels good. Begin with your fingers lengthened and your shoulders apart. Begin with your knees slightly bent if you're standing, and let your sitting bones drop down like a weight on a string, which is your spine. Move the top of your hips slightly backwards to lengthen your lower back. Move your lower front ribs inwards and backwards until you can sense or feel the skin of your middle and upper back. Move your shoulder blades apart and relax your throat. Move your shoulders as far away from the base of your neck as possible. Lengthen all the way to the tips of your fingers. Relax your arms. Relax your neck. Relax as much as you can your pelvic floor. Then relax your abdomen as much as you comfortably can. Let it relax like a baby. Then relax your face. 6 key places to connect with your nervous system and reset you to that state where good energy and loving information permeates and flows through your body as a model for how you can be in your life, either doing one at a time or all 6 at once according to your ability. So, 1, fingers lengthen, fingers can move. 2, shoulders apart, shoulders can roll. 3, neck lengthen, neck is free. 4, pelvic floor relaxed, pelvis can roll. 5, back lengthen, abdomen can gently breathe or roll. And 6, relax and they can move your facial muscles. Let's do this in a few different positions. The short trunk. Now the long trunk. Keep your lower back lengthened. Lift your shoulders and perhaps your arms. And go 1, fingers can move. 2, shoulders lifted but gently can roll. 3, neck lengthened, the neck is free. 4, pelvic floor relaxed, pelvis can roll. 5, back lengthened, abdomen can breathe or roll. 6, face relaxed. 3rd position, gently bend your spine slightly forward to lengthen your lower back. With pubic bone under the collarbone, keep your chin up and abdomen relaxed. 1, fingers can move. 2, shoulders can roll. 3, neck is free. 4, pelvic floor relaxed. 5, abdomen can breathe or gently roll softly. And 6, face relaxed. 3rd position, keep the back lengthened and gently expand the front of your body with your chin slightly down. Keep the lower back lengthened and go relax. 1, fingers lengthened, fingers can move. Relax 2, shoulders apart, shoulders can roll. Relax 3, neck lengthened and neck is free. Relax 4, pelvic floor relaxed, pelvis can roll. Relax 5, lower back lengthened, abdomen can breathe naturally or roll. Relax 6, relax your face. Come back to the first position, just neutrally standing. Stay or come to a lengthening the left side position. Keep the back lengthened, drop your left hip, lift the left shoulder, and lengthen the left side of the body without shortening the right side. 1, fingers can move. 2, shoulders can roll. 3, neck is free. 4, pelvic floor relaxed. 5, back lengthened, abdomen can breathe or roll. 6, face relaxed. And now come back to the center, normal, gentle little position, and lengthen the right side. Maybe drop the right hip. Keep your back lengthened, perhaps lift the right shoulder or arm, and go again. 1, fingers can move. 2, shoulders can roll. 3, neck is free. 4, pelvic floor relaxed, pelvis can roll or move. 5, back lengthened, abdomen can breathe or roll. And 6, face relaxed, chew, kiss, smile. And then back to the center once again, back to the neutral starting position, and we perhaps gently twist to your right side, with knees and pubic bone left, and belly button arms to the right, but look over your left shoulder. And once again go, fingers can move, shoulders can roll, neck is free, pelvic floor relaxed, abdomen can breathe or roll, and face relaxed. Come back to the center and twist to the left side. Push your pubic bone and knees to the right. Move your navel and arms to the left. Keep your knees bent so your lower back is lengthened. Look over the right shoulder so you can still look towards me. Keep the right ear slightly lifted, and go, fingers can move, shoulders can roll, neck is free. Turn sideways so you can see. Pelvic floor relaxed, pelvis can roll, back lengthened, but abdomen can breathe or roll. And face relaxed. Come back to the center once again. Drop your hips and go, fingers can move, shoulders can roll, neck is free, pelvic floor relaxed, abdomen can breathe or roll with your back lengthened and face relaxed. Now just stand or sit with your knees slightly bent, fingers lengthened by the side of the body. And just once you feel lengthened and relaxed, close your eyes and be here and now, still, calm and quiet in body, breath and mind. And just notice if you feel warm without your heart racing. And this is a sense of having good energy flowing through your body, enhancing blood circulation, while being completely relaxed. This is an invitation for pain-free joints, a functional, easy to work with body, a healthy immune system, and a recipe for happiness. When you're ready, gently open your eyes.
Well, thank you for that. There's just a deep invitation into a more meditative, connected state of relationship with our bodies. That's so the antithesis of a typical exercise program there.
Yeah, it's interesting you said the word meditation, because I believe that although many people like meditating, what I think of as meditation is not what most people think of as meditation. When I first saw a picture of someone meditating, it's like 1975, I saw a picture of a person sitting pretty much naked in the snow. And the person who showed me the picture said, "This man is meditating." And I went, wow, that looks difficult, to be naked in the snow. And then not so long after that, in the 1980s, many of my friends told me they were meditating. And I go, really? I didn't know you could. That's so difficult. I can't do that. And then I realized they're not really meditating. They're just sitting in a cold room with blankets over them, getting cold and bored. Maybe they're concentrating, but they're not necessarily in the true meditative state. Because to me, the true meditative state is completely functional, pain-free, calming, connected within yourself, and you are energized. So you feel blood flow that if you were sitting naked in the snow, you would not feel cold. Mm-hmm. That's a lot harder than most people. So I associate this state, which to me is true meditation, to be associated more with the flow state of the elite athlete, or getting into the zone where you're really connected, body, mind, and breath, but you feel not stressed like exercise, but feel energized, calm, focused, clear, having happiness as your default natural function.
That makes a lot of sense. It's meditation is the full integration of body mind rather than the sort of transcendence of, you know, of our body and mind. Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, it's really evident in how you move and how you're demonstrating the breath and really showing up there. And so I wonder if you can just, build on that and share a little bit about how you evolve a practice of 5D flow over time, and that your different dimensions and different parts of your body, really bringing them online in this really integrative, more meditative way.
Well, the most important thing that I really encourage anyone, even doing that section just then, is that you make it pleasant while you're doing it. It's got to invite you to come back. So it depends on what level your body is at. And, every day we're at different levels. You wake up in the morning. Sometimes people are stiff in the morning, more energized, more mobile in the afternoon. Some people are like that. Some people it's the opposite. So whatever your body is feeling like at the time, tailor the movements that you make and do in your practice to make it feel good. And of course, I guide you. But then what you want is, it's not just got to feel good physically. I mean, pain-free seems obvious, but many people, of course, think no pain, no gain. So get that out of your head straight away. It's got to feel really good. 90 to 99% of the time, at least, you want to make it feel super nice physically, but also physiologically. You don't want to feel like it's making your heart race, or make you breathe a lot, or make you feel in any way nervous or anxious inside your body. Physiologically, it must feel good. And then also mentally, you want to be in that zone where it's interesting, it's engaging. So you do enough that it excites you, that it feels fun, but not so much that it becomes stressful. And then you make it relaxing and calming enough so you feel calm, but not so calming it becomes boring. So on a mental level, you have to tailor your exercise, and I'll help in the course, of course, that you are always working mentally between the zones of boredom and stress, and you're calling it energizing and calming. And you do that mentally, do it physically and physiologically, and then you get a really good result. And some days you don't even want to make any stress at all. It's just a meditative zone. And then every once in a while, you might go, you know what? I'm going to practice for 100 minutes, and for 10 full minutes, I'm going to go so hard. And that's fine, because by that stage, you've warmed up for it. And that's okay. Every once in a while, go really hard. But it's not appropriate to sit at a desk most of your day and get up and do a hard set of exercise for 45 minutes. That would be a problem. It causes problems physically, physiologically, and mentally. What we need to be doing is adjust our practice so you're in the zone in a pleasant, engaging way for most of your practice. And then as you do this regularly from one day to the next, you get suddenly more flexible, stronger. Make it so that your practice is a journey, not the destination. Don't go for the destination of, I need to exercise because I need to get fit and strong. No, I need to practice because I want to be connected. I want to be enjoying my life. And then as a byproduct, you get stronger and more flexible. And then when that flexibility and strength arrives, then your practice will actually be a little bit deeper. And someone who watches you after a period of time will go, that looks like really intense exercise. And you go, no, it's not. It just feels like I'm in a warm bath being massaged by someone who loves me. Because you adapt it to the level you're at. And it doesn't matter what it looks like to other people, as long as it feels good for you. That's a different paradigm for most people.
Really very wise perspective. And I am curious though, like, since you've developed the system and doing it now, what does your practice look like now?
It's pretty much exactly as I described. And the funny thing is, often when I'm teaching, if I'm teaching older people or sick people, I go very, very soft in my demonstration. So they follow me. A lot of my teaching is visually instructed, because I think that the talking instructions are only so useful, but they trigger too much this left brain. But visual instructions tend to trigger a more right brain and people think less. And I think you can process a lot more information visually if you demonstrate the right way. And I do it especially with active movements, which trigger nerve responses in the body. And when you do this, then people will follow what you're doing. But I find that if I'm teaching older or sicker people and I go super gentle, and in my head, I'm thinking, this is so minimal that probably it's not going to do anything for me, but I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for my client or my student. At the end of my practice, I go, wow, I feel like I did hardly anything, but I feel amazing. So sometimes that surprises me how little you can do and still feel good, pain-free, functional, energized, calm, and meditatively connected. But every once in a while, I go hardcore. So, for example, I go dancing twice a week to an ecstatic dance, and that's 120 minutes. And for maybe 80, 90 minutes, I sit away from other people, or I move away from other people and move very gently. But then for 5, 10 minutes, I take my 63-year-old body and I see the young kids moving and I just go for it. I jump on my head, spin on my head, land in the split, do a handstand or whatever, every once in a while, because I can still do these things. I just don't do them that often,
Huh.
but a little bit here and there for
I
fun.
love that
Gotta have
image.
fun.
Yeah, I'm 53, and so I've noticed that trend line in myself. I'll still like a short spurt feels good, but then it's like, all right,
Yes,
that's enough of that.
you look great. You look great.
Well, let's circle back. I know breath is, so when we first started, you were really talking about how the pattern of sort of constricting our diaphragm and sort of leads to all these downstream repercussions. So breath is also very foundational. So maybe you can really put a little more focus on just on how do we shift not only our breathing during exercise, but just throughout our day to align with this philosophy.
Okay, this is very important. You see, many people say breathe more. And often, if you say people you should do a deep breath in, they'll often expand their chest. And if they do this, what happens is they get more air. And the way the chest is expanded in most people actually causes dysfunction. It's not wrong to expand the chest. It's actually very, very good to do it. And I'll show ways of doing this in the practices that I offer. But the way most people do it is actually just a stress response. So it's important to understand how to control your muscles of breathing. So when you use your muscles of breathing appropriately, you get a really good nervous system response, plus you massage internal organs and you move blood. So using your breathing muscles is a paramount thing towards good health. But the catch is the more air coming in and out of you, the more problems you get. So what we want is to be with the amount of air that we breathe when we're asleep. So when you're sleeping, a person who's sleeping really healthily is hardly breathing at all. And that's why they're called healthy. Same with a person running. Someone who runs fast, hardly breathes at all, is healthy. Now, it may sound like I'm saying to some of the people listening to this that sounds great. You've got to breathe more. But actually, any medical textbook will tell you this, that the less you breathe, the more oxygen goes to your cells, the more oxygen goes to your brain, up to a certain level, of course. But normally at rest, like you and I right now, are breathing the equivalent of 5 liters of air every minute, which is about the same volume as one full lung of air. The average lung capacity for the average adult is about 5 liters. So if you consciously try and breathe, most people would have trouble doing less than one full breath a minute. So the easiest way to teach people in the beginning is to restore the natural breathing that you have in sleep, that you had mostly as a child. And if you can do that in the practices I'm offering you, that's a good beginning. But if people train with me a bit longer, I can also teach you how to breathe one breath every 2 minutes, one breath every 3 minutes. And that is beyond natural breathing. It becomes supernatural breathing, and the effects are incredible. But get out of the head the idea that most people have that breathing more is good for you. Using your breathing muscles is good, but the less air coming in and out is better.
You have a remarkable way of really shifting the paradigm in so many unexpected ways too, in terms of the things that we just take for granted about our bodies and exercise and breath. Really very innovative, and really shifted my view of exercise more than anything I've listened to just in this last 45 minutes. So I want to spend some time now talking more explicitly about your upcoming program, because it's a remarkable opportunity to learn this system, distill out the wisdom of multiple decades of study and synthesis from East and West, and really take Simon's principles and put them into practice in your life to have more joyful and embodied movement that is helping to create more flexibility and more energy and all the benefits he's talked about. So we are going to have this upcoming program. It's called Move Free and Easy with 5D Flow. Revolutionize your movement practice to reduce pain, increase energy, and live longer. You can see it laid out in detail at 5D Flow Course. That's D, just the letter, 5dflowcourse.com. It's a 7-week program. There's no prerequisites. So you begin wherever you are in your own journey of health and well-being or exercise. And he's going to be teaching you very foundational building blocks for a different way of engaging that actually works in harmony with your system rather than in opposition and stress. So Simon, I'd love for you to share in your own words about More Free and Easy with 5D Flow. And then after you give a broad overview, I'll read out the module titles. So you give us a preview of what's coming in each.
Okay, the course is going to be a 7-week program where I've got an opportunity for people to do a practice with me, which will take about maybe 50 minutes, where half of each class will be more instructional and I'll show you and explain things. And then at least half of each of that 50 minutes will be an experiential meditative practice. And each week I'll focus on a different aspect. And by the last week, we'll have the longest experiential practice. And I'm going to do it with, the possibility of showing different versions. So it suits pretty much everyone. You can do it either seated or standing. And like I said before, standing will usually work best. But, I'm about to hop on a plane to China tomorrow. And I've been 4 times to Europe this year, which means altogether this year, I think I've spent like nearly 20 to 30 days on planes seated. So a lot of the practices I do when I'm traveling are seated practices, and they work really well. So simple movements can be so effective. So I'm teaching this as well. And these practices I want to emphasize are not just exercise. They are movement of the most gentle nature, and it's important that you make it, gentle while you're doing it. But it can build strength and flexibility and fitness. But more important, it can help harness the health of your internal organ systems, because these are the things that keep you long. I mean, to be crass, you could lose your arms and legs and you'd still live. But if you lose your internal organs, you won't live long. And people place too much emphasis, I think, on strength and flexibility of the arms and legs, whereas actually what's going on inside your trunk, your breathing muscles, your organs of regeneration are much more important to focus on. And that's what we're spending time on in this practice. Part of the practice also includes simple, gentle massage, where you touch parts of your body to help you connect with them and also to stimulate them. And then most important, perhaps, is that you have an opportunity to find peace in your mind, a way of connecting with yourself. And what I talk about is I say, make it so you recognize that we're in a world which is a connected world. We're all connected as brothers and sisters and parents, and we're all connected to each other, the flowers, the trees, the birds and the bees. And so not just recognize it, act like it. And if you're really recognizing that you're connected to a person you're talking to, then you should treat them with good energy and loving information. Share your good energy and loving information with them. But to do that easily in the world, it's good to have a model inside yourself. So what I'm teaching is how to help people share good energy and loving information inside themselves. And on a more scientific level, the good energy is enhancing blood flow, cardiopulmonary function. And the loving information on a technical level is in your body, the stimulation of a more dominant parasympathetic nervous system, which is opposite of the flight or fight response and more that state of rest, regeneration, relaxation, that place where your subconscious is thinking trust, peace, love, safety. And when you feel that inside yourself, you trust yourself, people see it and they trust you. So this helps you socially. This helps you mentally. This helps you in your business life. This helps your relationship life.
What a beautiful overview. So let me read out the module titles so you can give us a little preview of each. So module 1, connect with your true core and gut brain to enhance the function of immune, reproductive, and digestive systems.
So in this session, I'll get you to really connect with the most important thing. This is the bridges between your conscious and your unconscious. So I told you at the start of the talk, I was saying how the diaphragm is a bridge between conscious and unconscious. But in this first module, I'm teaching about the other 11 places which have this dual control. And when you connect with all of them at once, you can relieve trauma. I've used it for people about to commit suicide, and they completely change their approach. People in the most distressed moments can completely relax. It's a magical recipe.
Module 2 promotes circulation, release toxins, and relieve lower back and hip pain with the Earth, Moon, Fire, Sun practice.
In this practice, I'll be showing you how to release your lower back and also help release the neck and all the joints in general, but especially I focus on lengthening the lower back, because your lower back is either the source of lower back pain in many people, or it's the source of your energy drain. So once you open it up, you not only free up your spine, but you also start to feel more energized straight away. And this practice, you'll start to feel hot. But the surprising thing is you're getting warm, but not necessarily feeling heart racing or sweating. It's a warm, relaxed feeling.
Module 3 improves spinal mobility and decrease neck pain with the Earth, Water, Moon practice.
In this session, I'm teaching more about moving the body sideways, which a lot of people, I think, miss in their everyday life. And when you start moving sideways, you start to stimulate, especially kidney function. So your elimination becomes a lot better. And I think in this session also, I'm working a lot on your neck, which also needs to learn how to move in different ways. But musculoskeletally, I can easily fix problems of the physical body, but I get more excited with fixing the internal organs. And in this particular module, I work a lot with the internal organs as well.
Module 4, relieve knee and sacroiliac joint pain with the Fire, Air, Sun practice.
Okay. In this practice, I start to get you to turn, to twist. And as you're doing that, you mobilize your lower back in a lot better ways as well. Plus, you start to open up your sacroiliac joint, which is another major source of back pain, and also a major region which actually often gets blocked and prevents energy moving into your legs. So this can help hip function, it can help knee function, and I look forward to sharing that one with people.
Module 5, improve energy efficiency and promote the flow of good energy and loving information with the Water, Air, Moon practice.
This is one of my favorite practices, because this practice actually can really help you in your daily life with things like walking. You see, many people walk and it becomes a stress. But when you learn the water air practice, this moon water air practice, you find that in your daily life, you can start to put this into principle. And I show people how to move really easily in their daily life and make these practices come alive day to day.
Module 6, enhance cardiovascular function and optimize the health of your spine with the 12 ether cycle sequence.
This is a really beautiful sequence of how to basically take your trunk through the main movements of short, long, forward, backwards, side, side, twist, twist, lengthen, shorten. And when you do this, the practice itself can be done in about 3 or 4 minutes very effectively. And you can do it anytime, any place. You can do it on a chair or standing, but it's such a beautiful practice. And straight away, you feel energized, but calm and peaceful in your mind, warm in your body and pain-free. Once you learn it, you can release any joint in your body instantly.
And finally, Module 7, gauge the health of your body and mind with the extended 5-dimensional flow practice.
In this last practice, we put everything together, and then everything together, and it can be such a beautiful meditative practice. My only regret with this course is it's only 7 weeks, because if I had the time, I would teach so much more. And I've got so much more to share. I'm actually really excited to go again overseas, and I'm going to teach people. And usually I teach people 11 hours a day. And the funny thing is, with 11 hours a day, you'd think people get tired, but actually they're moving in a way which is so energy efficient that it actually builds energy. It doesn't take it away. I call this a work in rather than a workout. In a workout, people go, oh, at the end of the practice, I'm more tired. I need more food, more sleep. But actually at the end of the practices I'm offering, which I call a work in, you have more energy at the end of the practice, less need for food and sleep. For me, I have 4 or 5 hours a night of sleep is a lot for me, often much less. And I have one meal a day. And for the last 40 years, my meal has been like fruit, salad, vegetables, and it really serves me. But I don't want any more. I don't feel like I'm restricting myself. But the practices I've done, thankfully, to the wonderful teachers, you call it my practice, but to me, this is the practice I've been gifted by my most amazing teachers from all over the world, and including the wonderful Western teachers I've had who taught me different science and physiotherapy and human biology. I'm very thankful for what I've received, and I'm really excited to share it.
Wow, you kind of just drop out these little tidbits like sleeping less than 4 or 5 hours or only eating one meal a day and you're feeling thriving. Those are remarkable testimonials to the efficacy of this practice. Well, what a blessing, Simon. This has been revelatory to learn from you just in this time we've had today. And I know people are in for so much more. So again, the whole program is laid out in detail at 5dflowcourse.com. So you get not only the 7 90-minute live sessions with Simon, which will allow you to ask your questions and engage in interactive exercises. You'll get recordings, both video and audio, as well as transcripts to work with, study, and highlight. The video and audio are great to go back and really re-engage the practices so you can add it to your transformational library for years to come. There'll be weekly exercise for home, and as well as a Facebook community to support you and deepen your experience. And on the page, you'll see a number of extra bonuses that enhance your journey as well. There's a joint synergy, an embodied meditative movement practice, video teaching. You want to share more about that, Simon?
The joint synergy is one of my favorite practices. It's where I get you to connect each major joint complex in your body with your core. And as I mentioned before, this can make the joints function so much better. Actually, if I can share a little story about that. One time, the mother of my children rang me up while I was teaching in Spain a couple of years ago. And she said her father, who had been on dialysis in his late 80s, he'd been very ill. He said, his shoulder's hurting. Can you help him with his shoulder? So on a iPhone from Spain to Australia, I showed him how to gently move the shoulder in this shoulder joint synergy fashion. And because he was old and his mind wasn't working incredibly well, I had to go very, very slowly. And I did about 2 or 3 minutes, and you could see the look at his face trying to focus on how to move his shoulder. At the end, he stopped. And I said, Jack, are you okay? He says, I can think. And as you said, I get a shudder when I say this, because what it had done was not just release the pain in his shoulders, it had pumped blood to his brain in a way that suddenly he felt clarity. And suddenly all the fogginess in his brain went. And it's remarkable. Joint synergy is a really good practice for relieving joint pain, no problems. But also it helps blood flow. And the two most important things we need for longevity are to have healthy blood flow plus that parasympathetic dominance, the state of relaxation, regeneration. That's when your immune system heals you, when your reproductive system regenerates brain cells. Reproductive system doesn't mean I'm going to have more children or better sex. Reproductive system is your system for regenerating brain cells, skin cells. That's important. And if you have any form of stress in your life, that depletes. So I'm teaching you how to get those systems operating, but they won't operate unless you have blood flow to transport the information of these systems. So the combination of enhancing blood flow with a low heart rate where you feel relaxed, that is the most important way you can help people heal on all levels. And that's what joint synergy can offer at a very simple level. And the whole course, in fact.
Amazing. Just each thing you share about is a revelation. So on the page, you'll also see a number of other bonuses. There's a ebook from Simon called 5D Flow. It's a posture, movement, breathing, and mindfulness, really to enhance your studies via video. And there's also a special bonus you get when you sign up by midnight tonight Pacific time. This is our way to encourage you to make a decision now where you have the most information and really the best ability to intuit if this is your next step. So this is a video teaching from Simon called Spinal Synergy, an embodied meditative movement practice. So Simon, you want to share about spinal synergy?
Okay, that's actually very similar in some ways, a different practice, but a similar style of practice to the one I'll be teaching in module 7, where it's a much more embodied full practice. Now, that's something which you'll take and you get from the first day, but you'll find that you can use it not just straight away, but when you finish the course, you can do it again and it'll be 10 times better. But this is a beautiful practice and it has all the benefits I was saying before about connecting with your whole body. Because once you do the spinal synergy and you understand the joint synergy at the same time, your spine and your joints all work from the core. And it's very easy then to put your thinking brain in your head to this intuitive action brain, the gut brain in your core. And it's a beautiful practice. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with people who come early like that.
Well, what a wonderful reason to sign up right away and get that extra teaching on spinal synergy. So it's clearly going to be an incredibly high value program, really, really inspiring and super practical. And we've kept the investment really accessible. It's just 3 payments of $128, or you save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to start on November 29th and run Wednesdays at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, transcripts, and the community as well. And I love some of the testimonials. Like, if you're serious about understanding the mechanics of your body and every detail in between, you have found the master. And there's just great testimonials from people who work with Simon on the page at 5dflowcourse.com. And I think you can really just get such a sense for his authenticity and his mastery from today's call as well. So I encourage you to read through the whole page at 5dflowcourse.com, read through the testimonials and really tune in. And if you get a sense that this is the right next step for you, you're warmly welcome to join, and you get that special bonus of spinal synergy when you do today. So Simon, this has really been an eye-opening and body-opening hour. So thank you for all that's gone into developing your work. It's really remarkable journey you've been on. So any final thoughts for folks who are considering going deeper with you in the course?
Look, for me, it's about ongoing health, happiness, and longevity. So I'll share lots more on the Facebook group. And also when people ask me questions, I can often give even supplemental practices. I can connect you with this. So I'll have lots more to share. But for me, it's about making the world a better place. And that starts within ourselves. I think we're here for a purpose. And that purpose is to recognize we are all connected. So act like it. I think we're lucky to have these beautiful bodies we've been given. And so my philosophy is enjoy your life. It's a choice. Look after your body. It's the only one we've got. And then use that to help other people enjoy their lives. So I think we do that by sharing good energy and loving information inside ourselves as a model for how we are in the world. Thank you so much for your kindness and your kind words to me. I want to say that this is what I'm sharing, but it's coming from the wonderful teachers who have gifted to me from all over the world for the last 55 years.
What a blessing this time has been. Thank you, Simon, for sharing and your wisdom. And thank you all for joining. And you're warmly welcome to go further. And again, you can do so at 5dflowcourse.com, and you get the special spinal synergy bonus if you sign up by midnight tonight. So thank you so much. And thank you, Simon. Many blessings.